What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Here's what I will see your Chevy's bet and raise you that weird Italian place down the street for more of those horrible old fashions.
Stop saying
the weird
wrong.
Italian place down the street is just fun because it's like owned by mom and pop who are now grandmom and pop, and they are just so excited to see anybody under 65 walk in.
And you can tell because it's like
requests.
It's like when you used to go to your grandma's pantry and just see what was back there. That's their entire menu.
Whatever.
Like,
I mean,
let's just open up a can and put it right in front of you.
Yeah.
That's the high
antipasta.
class. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, it's something all right. Over here, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Let's him host.
And yeah, this is the show.
That's it.
This is the show.
This is
That's
what
it.
she's
I'll
on.
go-
Game over Greg.
Again,
you, though.
episode 2 in a row, 3 of us just chilling out, talking to you the way you want it, the way you wanted it.
Can you do 4 hours of podcasting today? You sure can. Should you? Why not?
We'll figure it out.
Only good shenanigans can come
I
from
felt
this.
like we were doing so well on being ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Because we're still ahead.
too.
We're still super ahead in GOGs. We're doing this GOG and we're done with the GOGs for the year, right?
Yeah.
It's like we did it. We accomplished that, but it's just the fact that when we take out Wednesday and you took out Monday, I'm just getting back from PSX today. That complicates your final week of work. Then Wednesday you're filming your thing. I'm gonna go to a Far Cry event. Like there's a whole bunch of shenanigans happening all over the place with this stuff. That's what screwed us
Cool
up.
shenanigans though. So
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow,
Is
me
our
and
life ever boring?
Nick and I need to shoot some more like follow-ups to the Disney commercial here. So those should be interesting. But the cool thing is, as of today, the Disney commercial is on TV.
I know.
I've seen people tweeting it.
People have been tweeting about it. It was on Comedy Central.
It's weird. It's
Really
so weird.
freaking cool.
It's such a weird, real thing. It's one of those things where while we were filming it, I'm like, this is a real production.
Yeah.
And then at some point it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, people are gonna see this. Like we're
On
gonna be
Comedy
seen.
Central.
And that's super fun.
Super dope. If you
It
see,
turned out really well.
please tweet at me pictures because I need more proof that it happened. Because
Yeah.
I still don't really believe it.
Tim was a Disney boy.
If you didn't know, this is the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 3, sometimes 4 best friends gather on this table, each bring a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where we put up the show early. Each and every fucking Thursday as a live video. Sometimes on Friday is
Take
just
it right to the fucking skull. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Early on
Take it to the skull.
Thursday.
Well, I mean, when do we usually?
Friday.
Tuesdays is when
Friday,
we record
9
it though,
a.m. is when
live.
it goes
Usually
out.
Tuesdays usually a live recording day. That's what I was trying to say. I jumped. I missed the bar.
You put it to
Heads up,
Thursday.
guys! It's the end of 2017.
shit happens,
I am
dude.
throwing junk. I am throwing
You're a
junk
junk
at you.
thrower. I've
But
been
here's
saying
the
that
best.
since
The
day
voice
one.
is gone. It feels like I've been smoking, like when Nick was cool. I'm just here to fucking party. All right, it's the final GOG of 2017.
By
We're
the
here to
time
fucking
people
party.
hear
Let's
this,
fucking party.
We'll have all have seen Star Wars. At this
Oh,
point, Kevin's
my
the only
God.
one that's seen it.
Kevin,
And
I'd
that's-
love for you to spoil it all right now.
Really? All right,
You,
so
you
this is
think
what
you
happens.
want that,
No,
but
all right.
then you flash forward a day after putting out a
Time
fucking
out.
harmless
Time out.
gift.
Time
a
out.
fucking
Time
harmless
out.
gift.
If you got no money to toss our way at patreon.com/kindafunny because you love us and want to keep the wheels rolling, no big deal. Go to youtube.com/kindafunny. We put it up topic by topic, day by day until it all goes up as one big video in MP3 the following Friday. Fuck you, Nick.
And they give
Fuck
you, it is
you.
a GIF
Fuck
that is in
you.
a TV spot that is currently running. I didn't watch the movie and take a fucking picture of it.
Yesterday, I'm sitting and I don't even know where I was sitting. We went into the extra live stream before the meet and greet in San Diego, and I look at my phone and my mentions are blowing up. And I'm like, what? And everybody's mad about spoilers. I'm like, what is going on? And I click on the original thing, get to it, which I won't say because people are watching live. There's a GIF from, I guess, the new movie, The Force is Back again. And is that what it's called? Star Wars The Force is Back?
The Force is back. Star Wars back in the habit.
There's a GIF of it, and I look at it, and my first reaction as I watch it, because it's a compressed GIF, I'm like, this looks like shit. This is clearly that scene from the first movie where she does that one thing, and then they just did a different background in there.
it's not.
And I show it to Jen and Joey, ruining them as well. And I'm like, I text Kevin.
Ruining them.
I'm like, is this real? And Kev's like, yeah. I'm like, how the fuck did Nick get it? I'm like, I don't know.
Here's what
Ruining
happened,
them.
and here's why I thought this was going to be an innocent thing. Because A, I had seen this a couple times. It's running on a TV
It's
spot.
literally
currently.
in a TV spot that says "Do not spoil this," which I know sounds like I'm making an
Okay,
argument against you.
so-
I'm making an argument for you.
Thank you.
Where they don't even consider that a spoiler.
No, here's the deal. So it's in a TV spot. A.
That says, do
B,
not spoil
it's
this?
not
Do
like
not
I
spoil
saw
Star Wars.
Right.
The whole point of the commercials: don't spoil Star Wars, the movie, when you see it. All the footage in that up for grabs.
Yeah.
It's commercial marketing footage.
It's commercial
I
marketing
haven't
footage,
watched
A.
these TV
B,
spots. I don't watch TV.
I did not go out of my way to find this gift that I saw. I typed in into the GIF generator on Twitter, The Last Jedi. It was the third GIF. Because obviously people are tweeting this shit out of it.
My thing is, in the commercial spot I saw it, I wasn't trying to see it. I was at a bar and I saw it, like we saw it playing, and we're like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a fucking cool scene. I was like, wow, I wish they hadn't showed that.
But they did.
But now everyone's seen it, and it's out there.
There's no context, and it's just like, all right.
I think the context is pretty clear. Her metachlorine count has spiked. Watto is there to face off against her.
Watto comes out.
The fucking mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy appears as well.
There you
She's
go.
like, oh, it, too much.
Did she eat a Chevy's also?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Nick.
Yes.
You are having a bad day. What's your real topic?
Real topic today is the Brainwash Cafe. After, God, it's been like, it must have been, I think I read an article that said it was open for 30 years. It finally closed yesterday. What? Now,
not only did it close, it closed unexpectedly.
Unceremoniously. There's just a note on the door that says we're closed.
For everybody out there, what is the Brainwash Cafe if they aren't in the San Francisco area? The
Brainwash Cafe and Laundromat, I should say, or Laundromat, is a San Francisco open mic comedy institution. This is it's a coffee shop where I believe like almost at this point, up until it closed, every night there was an open mic there from 6 o'clock till like 10 o'clock at night, with the exception of they've moved around Saturdays and Sundays a little bit here and there. But from Monday to Friday, you could bet that if you wanted to go and get on stage, you could put your name on a list, and sure as shit, you could go up there. And it just became this hub of like, it's an institution. People, you say brainwashed, a lot of people, if they got their start in stand-up comedy in the North Bay Area, they've at some point been there.
Well, that was the weird thing when you started doing stand-up comedy, is that when 2008, we'll say, I went and saw Damon Hatfield and Ryan Gettys play there.
Yeah.
And they did not a stand-up set, but music there.
Right.
And I remember like, oh, this is a weird venue. This is something interesting. So the fact, I was surprised it was still around when you were there. I didn't realize it was an institution.
Well, so when I first got the inkling, got the itch to do stand-up and wanted to check out the scene, it was the very first place I went. I remember I went there, I started looking around, I tried to introduce myself to some people. They were not having it because they were like, we've seen people like you before. You're going to get up, you're going to do a set. You're going to just walk away and we're never going to see you again, so what the hell do we care? It's kind of like a prove yourself test, and I'm still, I think, in that phase of my existence. But yeah, I remember going, and I remember sitting next to this girl, I can't remember her name, and I never saw her again.
Chelsea Handler.
It was actually Chelsea Handler. It was Kristen Wiig. And I would just remember talking to him, like, are you a comedian? She's like, yeah. I'm like, are you going to go up? She's like, yeah, I'm going to go up later. I'm like, oh, how does it work? And she let me in on some of the details of it. And then I went back, I think 2 more times before I built up the stones to actually get up on stage. And so it's closed, and it's very crazy because, I mean, obviously there's a lot more open mics, so it's not like everyone doesn't have a place to go now in Stanford, and open mic comedy is just going to die in San Francisco.
Oh, sure.
But the mics have been hosted by Anthony Medina and Tony Sparks for a very long time.
Tony Sparks, we know.
It sucks for them because they've built this thing, and then all of a sudden have it drop out from underneath them is kind of heartbreaking. I'm sure they will find another venue to pick that back up, and I'm sure. But
did Tony Facebook about it? Or
Tony's Facebooked about. Well, he hasn't said anything about it that I've seen, but people have talked to him, and there's going to be a kind of people are trying to go there this Thursday night to say fuck it and just do one more last mic there outside of it. But I think the official last mic for Brainwash is going to be December 28th at a different bar, sort of a commemorative, like, hey, let's all tell memories about this.
And I had seen this going around this morning, obviously on Twitter and stuff, for the people who are the locals that I know. Has there been a statement since then? Do we have anything? Because it was just a sign on the door, like, thanks for 30 years of business, bye.
Well, no, the only thing I could find was that a couple articles that I had Googled prior to the show that talked about how it was just not doing well to begin with. Gotcha. I think a lot of people attribute it to the fact that there's this giant apartment condo like development that's been happening for like a year, and it just makes it's scaffolding everywhere, and it makes the place kind of look like it's not a place you want to go to. But to be perfectly honest,
it's a place you don't want to go to.
I mean, it's a place that looks like it's one of those places where you walk in and you're like, this has not been updated since the 1990s. Yeah. I mean, there's the terrible brushed steel siding that's sort of like psychedelic that's all over the place, The laundromat itself is not very nice. The cafe, decent food, great people working there, but
the old cans of wine.
Yeah,
girls learn that the hard way. They learned that the hard way.
So I mean, as much as it's heartbreaking to not have the place as sort of a rallying point for all stand-ups, I understand how times change. The business part of it, yeah. I get that after 30 years, nothing lasts in San Francisco for much longer than that. And I understand that the culture in San Francisco right now is one of gentrification, where you look at, they cited that in a weird twist of fate, there's a new laundromat that opened up in the Mission called Laundré, which is like spelled Laundre apostrophe with the little accent over it. Of course, I have been by there because it's right by Alamo, and I walked by there with my wife the other day after we saw a movie. It is stunning. It is like all white birchwood art. And then in the back, it's like a cool little nuanced like laundromat. So people would go there to do laundry because it's kitschy, not necessarily maybe to do laundry. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But in a weird twist of fate, that's what Brainwash was supposed to be called originally. So everyone's like, oh, that's weird. But it's sad because you know that's what's probably going to go in there, and they will not allow us disgusting stand-up open micers to go in there and smoke weed and drink beer and just fuck off for till 11 o'clock at night. It's just not going to happen.
Now, roughly how many open mics do you think you've been to at Brainwash?
Open mics at Brainwash?
Or just shows at Brainwash?
Oh, probably at least one a week since I started doing this back in like, when did I start doing this? Back in March-ish? Maybe April.
Okay.
So, you know.
A fair amount.
A fair amount, yeah. Enough that when I walked in, everyone that works there knows my name.
How many times have you seen people do like because this would be my Brainwash set, you know what I mean? Is I'd get up there, I'd have a few zingers, and then I would have set a dryer to go off, or a washer to go off, and then I would have just like, oh, I'll be right back. And just Andy Kaufman did out there, washed it.
That would have been amazing.
Put it in there, shut it, done that thing with the change, come back up, and just kept going. Or if I did have it in the dryer, I'll be all right back, go over there with my thing, fill it up, then just sit cross-legged on the floor with the microphone, fold my clothes.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
I fucking would have killed. You know what I mean? It could have been a star. I could have kept Brainwash around.
Things could have been
You could have been big on Twitter. No, I mean, I've seen people do all sorts of things. That's the whole point of the open mic, right? And to Tony and Anthony's, credit, and incredible credit, they created an environment that was very, very open, right? And very, very accepting of people who are either new or wanted to do crazy material or just wanted to figure it out. It was always hey, some people might say some crazy shit, or they might be terrible, or they might just be a passing through comedian from another town working through their material before they're going to go to a set. But either way, we're all equal here, and everyone's going to respect each other and show each other. You know, he would always say, when you're new to the room, you got to show them a lot of love, right?
Yeah, that was the thing. When we went when I went to your Brainwash one a couple months ago or whatever, I was blown away by how supportive everybody was, because there was a bunch of people up there that weren't great.
No,
and it wasn't,
myself included.
And it's not
it wasn't
even,
like I was knocking it out of the park.
But I mean, that was the thing. Like, there's like, shades of gray here, where I mean, like, there was clearly like a woman up there who had just never really done it before, and people didn't boo her, yell at her. Like, everybody clapped and was happy that she was trying. And
I've never seen someone boo anyone.
No, I've never seen anyone boo anyone. I've seen people get heckled at a real, like, at a comedy club, a real comedy club. But no, I mean, for the most part, it's interesting, because when you first go to something like that, I mean, obviously there's so much like fear and anxiety built into it, right? And you're like, I don't know what's going to happen, and maybe I'll say the wrong thing, and someone's going to like boo me out of the, out of comedy forever. And it's just not like that. What you got was a mix of a lot of really like seasoned, like, open mic comedians who are just on the threshold of like breaking through to that next level, and they're all just kind of there. And it's intimidating, but it's also very like welcoming, just from a standpoint of like, oh, it's encouraging because you're around these people that are good.
You can see the different levels. You can see the
and if you go there long enough, you see people that don't get it, they don't get it, they don't get it, they don't get it, and then you see them start to get it, and you're like, that's fucking cool. Like, it's cool that this person did the same joke 5 times, and then I just laughed at it, because they figured out how to retool it and figured out how to deliver it, and that got a laugh. And you can see their eyes light up of like, oh wow, it's like catching electricity. Like, holy shit, like the room's suddenly paying attention to me, and then inevitably they drop the ball. But that's what the place is for. It's a testing ground. It's a safe. I hate to use the word safe space because I don't mean it in that like social justice warrior context, but it is a place that you can go and work out material, and you're not going to get a huge amount of judgment thrown onto your shoulders, Like, I've said terrible jokes there about horrible things. I'm like, oh, I want to see how this goes. And it didn't go well, but it's not like someone walked up to me afterward and was like, hey, don't come back here. Clearly it's like, all right, that joke might have been in poor taste, but it's a joke, and that's what this place is for. Understand that. And so trying to find that ecosystem somewhere else in San Francisco is going to be definitely tough. But we'll find it. I'm going to go into 2 mics tonight. There are other mics out there. It's just this.
Would you say that was like your home base though?
I mean, that was everyone's home base, right? Okay. Brainwash was, hey, did you do Brainwash? Yeah, I did Brainwash today. How was it? It was terrible. Like that was the common conversation you always had. So if for people who are really, really, really pushing hard to make it in the stand-up circuit in San Francisco, generally they'll do 2 to 3 mics a night. I'm lucky if I can get out to 3 mics a week. But these people will go. I mean, everyone's got contacts. They'll text. They'll go on the Facebook group. They'll be like, I want spot 2 here, spot 10 here, and then like I'll see if I can go out to even the East Bay and do it and finalize it if I live over there, because a lot of people live over there. So they'll come to the city, do 2 mics, go do a late mic there and do the same set and just work through their material there.
Sure.
And you see people, I mean, I've seen people go from being funny to being really fucking funny because they put the work in. So it just sucks that there's not going to be an early mic like that on a consistent basis. But there still are some. That
I mean, do you think that it'll just get replaced with something else? Because I feel
I can't imagine it won't.
Yeah.
You know,
because for me, the topic that we were talking about for this was like things that just went away in your life. And I think one recently for me was NeoGAF, where really bad things happen and whatever. And it's like, why it went away is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is so much of my life was waking up.
Right. That was a regiment. That was part of your
checking
routine.
the video game news there. Like understand, like seeing what happened from an insider's point of view and from just people that play games and just like having this conversation. And it just went away. And then Reset Era, just like, oh, cool. We just moved over here.
Yeah.
But it was like, there was like a couple days where I was like, holy shit, like this affects.
What do I do?
It's really though, like this affects my life. Like this affects something that I check multiple times a day, every day, whether it's even more on weekends than I do during the day here. It's like to just have that all of a sudden not be there is so weird. It happened to me a long time ago too, with this website vgmix.com. There's a bunch of video game remixes and stuff, but there was a community that I was a part of, and then one day just gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like I would have never thought that would happen. And then OC Remix kind of like took over that, but that is something that's weird to me because it's not so much just a physical thing. Because there's been a ton of places that have closed down that I never thought would. Or like just recently I was in the Richmond district where I grew up, and all the theaters that I grew up going to, like I was thinking about Star Wars. And I'm like, holy shit, I've seen every Star Wars movie up until the recent ones in this area that I grew up in. All those theaters are gone.
Yeah.
Like the place that I saw Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, and even when they brought back 4, 5, I guess I didn't see 3 there because it was closed by then. And it's just like, man, it's now an old people home. That's fucking weird.
Yeah. I mean, and I think part of the shock of it, obviously, that it's just a constant reminder that nothing lasts forever, right? It's always like
We're
change.
just dust in the wind, man.
Well, man, we just Stardust. I close my eyes.
I don't have that range for you right now.
I'm sorry, I don't either. Yeah, and it's weird. It's shocking, right? Because there's so many different things that change on a consistent basis in your life that it's nice to have a few consistencies. It's nice to have a few things that you can hang your hat on and know are going to be there for you. And when those don't, when those aren't, it's like oof, it's jarring. It's like, what do I do now? Because I wanted to go to that mic on Thursday, so it's like on a very micro base. It's like I got to find another spot at 6 o'clock on Thursday or go to a later mic, and it kind of just changes my routine.
100%. Yeah.
I think on that topic, another one of the big changes that I had to get used to that was actually like it was difficult for me as well was when I first started back with jiu-jitsu. I took private lessons with a brown belt, and him leaving to go down to Southern California was difficult for me.
Yeah,
for a lot of reasons, not the least of which was he was sort of like my I want to say totem, like from Inception, where it's like, oh, okay, I know as long as he's here, like he's the guy that like he taught me, and I can always go to him, and I can rely on him, and if he's in the class, like I'll roll with him, and it'll be a good roll, and I'll know that I'll learn some stuff. And then once he was gone, I was like, oh man. Like I don't want to say Dumbledore's dead, but like now I have to kind of grow
branch
up
out,
and like
right?
branch out and be responsible for myself, and that's a tough thing to think about,
Yeah.
And it never gets easier, even though I'm 37 years old, and there's always, if you're trying something new, you're always going to have that same cycle of like, I'm used to this. Oh, this works. This is the routine, and it changes, and you're like, fuck, why?
Yeah.
Like, why can't just one thing when I'm 37 just be like?
You don't
consistent?
think it gets easier?
I think it gets easier to deal with it because you have the past experience of understanding that that's just the way it goes. But it's still an emotional blow. It's still like I'm reading all of the thread of all the people's memories on Brainwash, and I'm like, I was there for some of these, and it's hilarious. And like some of them I wasn't. Like someone had a great comment where like I was there at the time that Tony had to threaten someone with a butter knife to get him off stage, and I'm like, there you go, man. Not going to see that again anytime soon because it's just not going to happen. It just doesn't happen that much anymore. It was a singularly unique
For
place.
me, it's the impending death one day of Wing Wings.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's
I was like,
be
Wing
hard.
Wings is up for sale, of course, and so I mean it's been up for sale a while now. And what does that mean? You know what I mean? Is it still Wing Wings when somebody else buys it and Christian's not working there behind the counter anymore? And like,
is it
do
Wing
they
Wings
change
when
it?
you walk in, everything's clean and there's no writing on the wall, and he's
Exactly.
not using that boom box anymore from like 1985?
Turn it the fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's one of those new ones that's made to look like that.
Oh,
but
is it? Okay.
I thought so, right? Doesn't it have like USB ports?
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Maybe
I
I'm
mean,
wrong.
You're probably right. You've been there more than I have. But you know what I mean? Like you see Wing Wings, and what used to be visually and just that feel of San Francisco is now an excuse me, it's out of place.
Yeah.
you know, it's you look at it and you go, oh, the grimy sort of like culturally significant San Francisco feel that doesn't belong anymore. Yeah, I can't see the word that I'm trying to figure out. Thank you, anachronistic. It's out of place. It seems
it's
like
out of time. It's a thing out of
it
time.
really does. It seems like something from the '90s that just left over, and you know, no matter what, they're just going to be left behind eventually.
And that's the thing. I don't know, like who would buy Wing Wings and if they would come in and change it to be that. You know what I mean? I don't know. It'll be fascinating to see what happens when that gets if it ever gets sold or whatever. Because like in Lower Haight, there still is that vibe of
Lower Haight's one of the last
Lower
bastions.
Haight.
It is a little. It's the butt end of it, though.
You
I
think
think, like, I mean, physically, location wise.
Oh, sure.
Wing Wings, when you start
Wings
getting into Hayes Valley and that area, it's
yeah,
like,
Wing
that's
Wings is like
super
I think
gentrified now.
kind of the last stop of the SF Heat Street vibe.
Yeah, I'll give you that 100%. Yeah.
Kevin, can you get Cool Greg to grab me a sugar-free Red Bull? Thanks, bud.
So yeah, that'll be a change. But I remember like in college, the bar we always went to was called the Haymarket.
Sounds like a dope bar.
Well, what it was is that I forget. I can't remember at this day and age anymore who found this, but somebody came in one day to the Antler House and was just like, "There's this bar out off of Business Loop, which is like right next to I-70, that is in the Best Western, attached to the Best Western, and it's awesome." And we're like, "Oh, is it like it's a cool hot spot?" A lot of he's like, "No, it's just fucking old timers out there drinking, having fun, and like they don't card and da-da-da." Like, all right. And we went to the Haymarket like fucking for a long time, like multiple years, like Friday and Saturday. You go there. They had at least every time they'd have this special that was that you would order your pint of beer or whatever, and they gave you the glass, and they were like Dale Earnhardt and whatever, like fucking NASCAR glasses. So the Antler House was just stacked with these shitty cups. And then it was like you knew Jane, the bartender there. We knew forever. We knew the owner really well. There was karaoke we would go and kill, and it was that thing where we got there and we were these like young kids or whatever, but they were like super down to have you there and be part of the family. And then we started bringing in our friends, and like it actually turned it into a spot for like young people as well as the old timers.
That's awesome.
But not like every young person. Our young people, our group,
right,
you know what I mean?
right
The tangential
group,
people we ran with. And when I remember when that got sold, and it was like, what? They sold the Haymarket? And like, yeah, and we're doing one final fucking thing. And I will never, like, and they used to have wings there, so of course we loved it. But they had one final night there for the Haymarket, and I'll never forget, it was like, so we already knew we were family with these people, but when it was like, it was Jane, it was the owner, it was a couple other different people, regulars there or whatever, and they came over and got like 2 or 3 of us, me included, they knew us by name, obviously, brought us up to sing the final karaoke song, which was Toby Keith, I Love This Bar.
Match.
And it was like so touching, you know what I mean? At the end, and like have like the curtain call hug of it all, and then go out and be like,
That's awesome.
what the fuck why do we care so much of this Best Western bar out in the fucking nowhereville of Columbia?
But it's so interesting how those things can mean so much to you, and then you feel that end of an era like feeling, right?
Oh, sure.
Like, I mean, in the brainwashes sense, I mean, it literally is an end of an era. I mean, this has been around for decades at this point.
Well, I joke about it too, you know what I mean? But I do think something got lost there, not in a bad way, obviously, but stick with me, of when I've told the story in passing of like when my parents woke me up to go watch Portillo's burn. And like when it was that I was a kid and mom and dad like fucking, it must have been like 9:30. It wasn't like in the middle of the night or something, but it was out past my bedtime. But they were like, we got to go see this. Like, because I don't know how your parents are. My parents were weird. I don't think they still do this, but they used to just listen to the police radio. Like while they just hung out in the kitchen or whatever.
Awesome.
So I'm sure that's how this happened. I don't know. I should ask my mom this story.
Have a lot of things in their past that we probably don't need to know about. I'll tell you that right now.
But I remember going there and watching Portillo's burn, and it was like, it was my Portillo's. You know what I mean? And like, don't get me wrong, the one they put up the street then, because it burned down and they never reopened that one. They just built the one up at the other side of North Avenue in Glendale Heights. Well, I think that was Glendale Heights, technically. That was Bloomingdale.
Portillo's so bad.
Oh, dude, I just ate so much Portillo's. Just ate so much Portillo. Buena Park, Kevin.
You guys
Buena Vista. That was the joke. Sorry.
You guys took that place over, man.
Dude, that meet and greet was insane.
Yeah,
that was
the
an
pictures
insane
from
meet
it. I
and
was
greet.
like, because I think I asked. I asked Andy. I was like, "Did Greg told them this was happening, right?" And Andy's like, Andy did that thing. Was like,
man,
I don't really Gundam.
We did. We told Nick Scarpino.
I assumed as well.
Yeah, but and that's why I think they were staffed up, but the staff was not happy.
No,
That like 6
bet
o'clock on a
not.
Sunday, probably a really dead time usually. We run like 500 kids that took
my
over the
God.
place, and it was just gridlock.
And
And,
he was
then there was
telling me
like
there was,
12
like, two-
normal people who were like, "What the fuck is going on?"
That's chaos.
Yeah, there was
Chaos.
one when I
We
was
should have
going
gone to Taco Bell.
in between. One of them, I was going in and out to because kids wanted photos of me in front of my photo. That's got hung, which is super weird. When Jen and I were waiting on Joey and Andy to come day 0. We were sitting there waiting, and Jen looked around. She's like, they haven't hung your photo yet. I'm like, I know, blah, blah. And like 30 minutes later, we're talking, and I glanced at the door to see if Joey and Andy were coming in, and the guy was hanging the photo.
You
and
know
I
that
was
Nick
like,
Scarpino called that restaurant. I was like, you better have his photo.
I
up
emailed
now.
Nick Scarpino. That's how it all started. I was like,
Right.
hey, dude, I'm coming through on Sunday. If you were going to get this thing up, you should get up. He's like, I'm going to make sure it's up by Friday, and we were there Friday. Anyways, though, I was coming in and out of the door there, and a woman stopped me and was just like, excuse me, why is your photo on the wall, and why do people keep taking photos of you by it? I'm like, oh, well, and I just did it like this. I'm like, all these people are here for me, and I'm from Chicago, and I like Portillo's, and I'm famous on the internet.
You're like, as to question number 2, they're taking a picture of me near my photo because it's on the wall.
Yeah.
That seems pretty self-explanatory.
Well, and then she's like, oh, where are you from in Chicago? I'm like, I'm from Glen Ellen. She's like, oh, I'm from, and I'm like, cool. Like, I'm literally
You're like, we're not on it.
surrounded by 500 people right now. Like, great that you're from here, but you have no fucking idea who I am. Portillo's burned. And it was that was my Portillo's, and I'm a dumb kid, as you know, at the time. It had such an interesting structure that I can't visualize much anymore. I want to say it might have been an old Pizza Hut. And then because this is before Portillo's got huge, that they had that location.
In Riverside.
Yeah, we had down the street. There's on North Avenue. There's another Pizza Hut that became a Chinese food restaurant. We kept the same, look to it.
No, the biggest offender of that. Sorry to interrupt you. Was Taco Bell used to have that very distinctive looking building that they would build. Remember
like
that
a
with the villa? Yeah, it looked like a Mexican villa.
Yeah.
And then eventually, as they all went out of business, it was like weird to see a T-Mobile store. In
That's what it always became. Some fucking knockoff cell phone.
JJ King of Beepers.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
But for me,
It's a real thing.
I've talked about it before with you guys specifically of going to that first VidCon, and it was Eric Hart, and I'll never forget that, walking into the Portillo's in Buena Park and being like, I can't believe you guys are here. Because it's like, it's very similar to when I got married and my parents were in Wing Wings, where I'm just like, you're behind Wing Wings counter hanging out with Christian. Like, that's never something I envisioned happening, because Portillo's is home. And so the Portillo's in North Avenue that I grew up with, that the one that got rebuilt after the burning down the street, like, that's what a traditional Portillo's is. It's huge and it's blah blah. But that was like still a moment in time Portillo's for me that like is so rusty for me because I was a kid of like what it actually looked like on the inside and how.
What ballpark it? When do you think that building and that Portillo's came into existence? Like, what are we talking about? 80s architecture here?
Wait, the one that went down,
The one that burned down, yeah.
Oh,
Early 90s, late 80s.
I would say probably mid 80s, somewhere in there.
Okay. Did they have the old board where like the menu you had to stick on each like thing? It's like a deli.
No, I don't think they had that, but it was the thing of like they had all the like how you've been inside Portillo's, how they have like shit all over the walls and crap.
It's kind of
but
like TGIF.
It's framed in TGIF Fridays.
Thanks.
It's framed and shit. This was more like it's like shellacked on the table that's been here forever. You know what I mean? And I remember like one of my memories there of going with my mom or Grandma Miller or whatever, and like we sat down at a booth and somebody had left a cell phone there, but it's like it's not a cell phone, right? It was the fucking giant brick phone because it was like
How do you forget that?
90, you know what I mean? Like we had to like take it up to them and be like, this is there? Like
how do you forget this? Yeah. How do you walk out and be like, this is not my pocket, where'd my cell phone go?
Yeah, I know.
You gotta strap that thing to your back like
or
it's fucking Vietnam.
But yeah, that's the thing of like those things that are gone and matter. And like that's what I was thinking about today, or not today, but when I was at Portillo's this time around, I'm just like
You're laughing at Tim.
You just say things
You're
sometimes,
up against the
Nick.
wall, man.
No, when you just say them, and I'm just like, what exactly is he envisioning?
That fucking big thing they carry out with them in the military. Like, it's Vietnam. Come on, it's like
you know what?
Where
they crank
I
it?
got that, and then I went to
Sleeping Tiger.
I went to Lethal Weapon where he had one of those car phones, the giant bricks that was like military. That's where my brain went. And you know what? People say don't poke the sleeping tiger.
A couple days
sometimes.
ago, Greg, I know you've heard this, but for the audience to hear, it was the whole group that was remaining here. The whole crew. We go to get, I guess it was yesterday.
Yeah, we were at the
Cool Greg, Kevin, Andy, me,
food
Nick.
court.
And we're at the food court. It's in Stonestown.
it comes back together. You thought this story was told to you for no reason to begin the show. Here we are.
We were eating, and I forgot what the context was, but you were trying to say, don't poke the bear.
Don't poke a sleeping bear. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Which
you
is
said,
the old saying, I
don't
guess.
poke a sleeping tiger. And then we like, me and Kevin do the thing where we look at each other. And I look at Andy, and Andy kind of like smirks at me, but then he looks at you, and then you tried playing it off. Like,
I was like, no,
yeah,
it's
no, that's a thing.
It's an old proverb.
It's a thing. And like, you were just trying to play it off. And it's like, no, Nick, it's a bear.
I used to say,
love it.
don't poke a sleeping rhino. Don't go up to a sleeping rhino and poke it with a stick. That's what I used to say. That's my proverb.
Why? Why?
Because would you do that? This is a silly thing
Why
to
would
do.
it? But
It's a dumb thing to do.
He got you.
is it a sleeping bear too? Isn't it just don't poke the bear?
Yeah.
I don't know why you're adding.
Kevin, look it
sleeping.
up.
You added a whole bunch of, I thought it was just don't poke the
No.
bear.
I don't know. Maybe it is don't poke the bear. Who the hell do I know? I don't pay attention
Sleeping
to
tiger.
that.
But anyways,
I ruined Star Wars for people.
When we're at the Portillo's meet and greet, I had that moment of thinking about of like what happened if it is just no sleeping, just don't poke the bear. Got
Well,
it.
then what the fuck? Type in sleeping tiger, hidden dragon. To see what comes up.
Don't poke the bear. There, a lot of stuff up that Kevin's showing us.
I
Here.
want to make a shirt that just says Nick Scarpino ruined Star Wars.
I did. I
Oh,
ruined
that's a
mine.
great shirt. Nick Scarpino ruined Star Wars. I'd buy
Yeah,
that.
that'd be great. Yeah, let's Google that. Let's make sure that stays in Google forever.
Oh yeah, the other things we've said about you aren't nearly as
Well,
offensive.
yeah, thank God the cocaine.
So here's the thing: we've been talking about things
Catch on.
that end and that how they're importance to
Yeah.
you. I think it's a good segue to my topic.
Sure.
Because my topic is what has lost all importance to you? What is something that you put importance on that then just doesn't matter?
I'm going to start this one off.
About
The
time.
Walking Dead.
Oh.
And I'm shocked by it. Now,
Very
so
contemporary.
I came onto The Walking Dead as a franchise very late. I started watching, well, I read first, and I caught all the way up, and then I started watching, I want to say, around season 5.
That sounds about right. I remember when we talked about this.
Yeah, so, and then I would watch them week to week, and I was totally in. And even back then, I believed that the comics were better than the show, but I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm still in, and I thought the show did a really good job of being different enough than the comics, and I appreciated it, and I liked what they did, and I was totally with them. And then the season 7 thing started, and, you know, there was all the controversy around that.
The Negan stuff?
The Negan stuff,
Yeah.
and how he was handled, and I kind of defended it. I kind of was just like, all right, trust me, it gets better. Like, it's worth it. It makes sense. Negan's an awesome character. There's a lot of great stuff going on. And then I just kind of kept watching, and a couple episodes in, I was just like, to season 7, and I'm like, this is not good. Like, it's just, I can't even defend this anymore.
Yeah.
To myself.
Can I make it a quick aside? Because you're making a great case, don't get me wrong. Are you saying The Walking Dead franchise as a whole has lost importance or just TV?
So that's the thing. To be clear, the TV show doesn't matter. But it's kind of souring me on the comics as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
And I mean, the comics is always, it's hard because binging it was so fucking good.
Yeah, that's the
Watching
way
it
to do
or
it.
reading it month to month at this point, it's kind of.
Who are you? What's happening?
Yeah,
Where do we
especially
leave
now.
off?
It's a little hard. But it's
I just wanted to blow my nose. I'm sorry. I didn't.
it's totally though the TV show where I can't believe how I went from as invested as I was to being where I'm at now.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've never committed to a show and then dropped off this hard. I don't think I've committed to any form of medium this hard and then just been like, oh, at this point I don't need to watch. I'm done.
Yeah, the thing I wonder with The Walking Dead, though, is it going to be one of those things like that continues to go on, and then as new groups come in, old groups go? Or with the TV shows, the TV show eventually has to end, right? Eventually the
My
ratings are going to
theories
drop
are
off
the
so
TV
much.
show
They're ramping
is-
up. The
is
popular-
done in the next.
The popular fan
season or
theory
two.
is they are based on the mid-season finale on Sunday, which past Sunday, us recording, is the beginning of the end.
Right,
Of
because the
we're
ratings
wrapping.
are down, right?
Yeah,
Isn't this the
ratings were in
first-
the tank for this
Yeah.
season's opener. And like to jump in real quick, if you don't mind, I find myself in the same boat as you about the TV show. Where the TV show was, I mean, I'm a huge Walking Dead guy. I love Robert Kirkman, all this different stuff. I still love the comic, but I'm with you of like binging's way better, so I let them stack up most of the time. But actually, I guess that's not true. I read them, but then I go back and read them. Doesn't matter. The TV show, I'm exactly there with you, where it was super weird of, okay, cool. You're in and out of it in 7. Or wait, 7's when Negan's fully in? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like when he debuts in season 7 in the finish of the Eeny, Meeny, Miny, episode, I thought that episode was awesome. And then we came away and everybody's like, it was too graphic. It was this, that, and the other, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't really feel that, blah, blah. But
Yeah,
then
I was with you on that.
started watching it and I felt then it just started getting really awkward and weak. And I was like, what's happening? All right, cool. And then they went on mid-season break. And when they came back, I didn't realize they came back. It was similar to like Smallville. When Smallville lost not all importance to me, but like at the time in terms of you need to watch this, it was just 3 weeks in, somebody finally hit us up in the morning show and was like, so Greg, what'd you think of Walking Dead last time? I'm like, is it back? I was been back for 3 episodes, and I tried to force myself to watch it. I just couldn't do it. And so I've been out from there, the mid-season finale. I think I watched the season finale to try to figure out what's going on, which isn't hard because nothing really happens in the show. And then season 8, I haven't watched any of it, like any of it. And then I read the spoilers for the season 8 mid-season finale, and I was like, oh, that's a really interesting take. I'm definitely going to come back for your next episode. So I guess that maybe they are trying to fix it and work it, which is why I'm with you in the subreddit that I'm on for Walking Dead, where it's like this. Maybe they are ramping it up to actually end the season or the show.
I mean, I have to imagine they are. 8 seasons of anything is a really, really, really long time. I mean,
Sure.
you're talking about. I think I started rewatching Friends, and I was like, how many seasons they did? Kevin, can you look up how many seasons Friends did?
I thought it was 10,
I think it was
yeah.
10. Yeah, and I'm like, fuck, man, that's a lot of TV. That's a lot. Now, granted, Friends did, I think, 24 episodes in a season. I don't think Walking Dead has been doing, I think, more than, 12 to 14 or something. Yeah, something like that. But still, I mean, that's a hard show to keep making.
yeah.
And you can tell, man. You can tell, like, part of it is that with The Walking Dead, it's just people just don't watch TV on the same schedule that they used to anymore. And it's very
100%.
easy to forget about something. And the fact that you have to go to your DVR and go and look at it and go, oh, there's 4 of these?
Yep.
Do I really want to go back down?
I mean,
like I just
honestly-
did with The Flash. I was like, do I really want to go back down this road?
We were talking about this today on Kind of Funny Games Daily, of just the fact that it's not a console race anymore. It's a race for your time, right?
Yeah,
In terms of video
yeah.
games. And it's the same. We've talked about it before. There's just too much to consume and want. And that's my thing of like, man, you know, I stopped watching The Flash, which I was super into, and I still think it's a great show. But even when Crisis on Earth X is awesome. And it's all right, great. That is over 2 nights, 4 hours of content just dropped. And I look at it and I'm like, I'd rather play Destiny. And so then it becomes the Persona problem for me. Of like looking at it like, when do I have 4, even on a plane, even on a plane I used to watch stuff, right? Now it's sort of like, well, I'd rather play Mario.
Yeah.
Like I prioritize games at such a level that it's impossible for me to keep going on that. And that's why I think when Walking Dead finally was like, meh, okay, whatever. But Telltale Walking Dead I'll still play every Tuesday, you know, that it drops on PSN. I'm going to be right over it and on it. But what's interesting, because I want to call a spade, I had done a topic a long time ago, 2 years ago now, probably. I don't know. But is Walking Dead the new Star Wars?
You're crazy. I remember saying you're crazy.
Sure. Well, I mean, but here's my thing. Do you think The Walking Dead, because again, I'm not saying that is it the caliber of Star Wars or this, that, the other. Do you think, I still think that it's very easy to end the show, keep the comics running, do your video games every so often, like this over fucking kill one, right? And then in 7 years, do a Walking Dead movie.
Oh,
And I think that's the thing where I'm talking about, is it a new Star Wars? I think with this franchise, this world, whether it's the AMC world or it's the comic world or it's the Telltale world, I think it's with us for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, it'll be with us for a long time, but I don't think it'll.
I don't know that it will be ever as culturally relevant as it
And
was.
I don't think
like
that was ever the
season
case
4,
I was making.
You know, no, definitely not. But I mean, the property is so well known now that there's no way that Kirkman and the group are going to let that die, especially from a mixed media perspective, right? I could see them, like, they've already tried to branch it off, obviously, with Fear the Walking Dead, which I watched the first like few episodes of, and I was like, not going to get into this. Sorry,
don't even
they
get
tried to do
First
some stuff
season was
online.
like, it was shaky, obviously.
First season, half of it was great. Half of it was terrible.
Terrible CGI.
Second season was like
Season 2 started, I was like, fuck this.
this.
Get the fuck off this boat. What are you doing?
Supposedly, season 3 is not that bad, but I don't trust the people
No, I
telling
don't do
me
that at all. I don't do
Yeah,
that.
the problem is with shows that are not that bad anymore, there's just no room for that. You have
Yep.
to be great or you're done.
It's the same problem with games in 2017. I was not in an argument, but I was talking to a kid last night at the meet and greet at Polite, and it was the same thing. Like, oh, no, how long did you play the game? Like, I don't know, 45 minutes. Or, you got to give it 20 hours. And I went, fuck you and fuck that game.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? No, I'm not gonna do that.
Again, let me say I
Wasn't
misspoke.
Persona.
That's not a problem. That is a fucking great thing from a consumer's perspective. It is a huge problem from the content creator's perspective, right? We have people, all of us have zero attention span. So if you're making The Walking Dead, you cannot rest on your laurels, right? Because at any given point, you might have a couple bad episodes in a row, and then boom, you lost half your audience. They're gone.
Yeah.
That's obviously hyperbole, but still, the sentiment is there of like, from a content consumption perspective, I fucking love it. This is the best it's ever been. Flash is not as good as I want it to be. It's out. It's done, Jerry. You know, I just got Hulu, right? Got to log in for that.
Well,
Maybe I'll go back and watch Seinfeld for all we know.
Well,
Who
that's
cares?
that's
It's
the
up
thing.
to me.
That's the thing about it too, where it's like, where the week-to-week programming of Flash or Supergirl or whatever show you want to insert here, I like binging obviously on Netflix more. But Netflix is interesting in the way that, like, with the exception of that one Stranger Things episode, right? Punisher isn't grabbing me anymore. This episode, 2 episodes in a row of Punisher means I'll never know what the hell happens in the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with Walking Dead or Flash, if I come in and somebody's like, dude, well, Flash was awesome last night. I'll go, oh, okay. And I'll just jump to that episode.
Yeah.
And feel like I didn't miss it. I don't feel like...
They give you a little recap.
What- yeah.
I skipped, by the way. I went back and did. I was like, oh, should I watch these? I watched it. Didn't watch the Crisis on Earth X crossover. I was like, I don't want to watch that shit. Came back. They gave me a little
Previews of Flash.
And I was like, cool, I'm good. Let's pick up the DeVoe storyline. We're good to go. I don't need that.
Yeah.
It's I mean, to be honest, a lot of this content is throwaway content anyway, right? Not to say that The Flash isn't good, like isn't good content. It's a very well made show, but it's not a show that I am so heavily invested in that I have to hang on it, right? It's not Breaking Bad, right? It's not Lost seasons 1 and 2. You know, it's just it's a guilty pleasure show. Where you're like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and watch this. Maybe I'll read a fucking a blog while I'm doing it, or my wife will read a magazine while we're doing it. We're not really paying attention to it. The Walking Dead is just different because The Walking Dead was a monumental, epic moment in TV.
Every season premiere just crushing the ratings.
Crushed it, and then fucking off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly.
Off a cliff. That's
Out
wild.
of, and I don't want to say out of the blue, but I do feel like we turned a corner. Season 7. I mean, like,
Well, I
I
think
watched that in Missouri. And like, it was like we were stopping everything, me and my Hayes and his wife, to watch all that.
I think that Walking Dead was the thing where it wasn't all of a sudden. I think it was all of a sudden for
Over the course of that
the
last
hardcore
season.
people. It was all of a sudden for the people that like, oh, if you made it this far, you ain't leaving.
Right.
And then we all left.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what it was, and it's horrible to say, but that last season dragged on too long. The war between Negan and Rick, they wanted to have culminate in the end, and that last finale, you were just like, what is happening here? This is a weird thing. And then it's like, hey, everyone, we're coming back. Happy go lucky. And you're like, no, this was a like super depressing season. I just I don't want the up and down anymore. It's starting to feel artificial now. It's unfortunate.
What's something that's lost all importance for you, Nick?
Bar culture.
Ah.
Yeah, I went out to Eric Hart's birthday the other day, and I was like, oh, this is fun. But you know what I really wish this wasn't in? A really loud bar. A really loud, crowded bar. And I got home, and my voice was hoarse, and I was coughing. And I was like, oh, what? Oh, right. I'm not used to screaming at my friends anymore in order to converse with them. I had a good time, don't get me wrong, but I just don't like that experience anymore. Now when we go look for bars, I'm like, can we find some place that's more of like a lounge or a Starbucks where we can all just sit and talk to each other like we are right now and intellectualize like nerdy comic book shows, and talk about the things we care about? Because
Talk to you about the Flash.
I'm also just like, because I'm married, there's no real additional X factor to going to a bar, right? When you were single, it was like, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with Tim, but who knows who I'll go home with? Spoilers, it was usually just me. I was just by myself.
And a burrito.
A burrito. Yeah, exactly. But
So
now
all
that
in all, a win-win.
I mean, no win-win. Burrito and porn. That's how most of my nights ended in my 20s. But then I met my wife, and now it's like, well, I've got someone to go home to, and she's there, and
there's a burrito.
and there's still
Now
burritos.
there's a
Yeah,
Chia bowl.
exactly. And so it's interesting because as I see some of my friends who are still single, and they're single into their 30s, I'm like, this has to be wearing on you, man. Because I was thinking about it today on the drive in. I'm like, it's so funny to watch. We all, as much as we want to pretend like we're different, we go through the same things. Especially like everyone goes through that moment in their 20s where they're just figuring stuff out. And a large portion of us did that by going out and having these experiences and doing the bar thing. And then there was one point in my life where I hit it where I'm like, oh yeah, this is just a variation on the same theme. I'm just kind of like, I've been here before. I've done this before. This night has happened before. And you have that where you're like, I don't need this anymore. Like, I'm just beyond this. And then when you start going back there, yeah, you can still enjoy it, but it's lost that adventurous luster. And so for me, nightlife culture has just very much shifted to, now I just want to maybe get dinner with my friends and talk to them. If we're going to have
100%.
cocktails, we're going to have cocktails there, but it's not going to be like, what? Like, I fucking cannot stand, mostly because, I mean, to be honest, the majority of my interaction with people and the joy that I derive from that is hearing them say funny things and me saying funny things back to them and making them laugh. And you cannot fucking make people laugh when every word is what? And you have to scream the joke into their ear, and it's like, I'm not charming right now, and I hate not being charming because I'm not much to look at, and it's not fun.
No.
But you know what I mean? It's like so much of interaction is verbal, and and that's part of it. That's why I like going to like places like the Palm House. We sit on the fucking, we get the bar experience, but we're removed from it, and we sit on the patio.
yeah.
Farmhouse so much.
Well, I don't like it because the bar sucks. It's hard
Yeah, I don't like trying to
drink.
get to the bar. Yeah, that's one
But I
downside.
do like being able to sit with you guys and just
but
drink
so-
cocktails till the night's fucking done, and we're whatever.
I totally agree with what you're saying, but I think that the one thing that I disagree with is like talking about Eric's birthday in particular. That was the most fun I've had in so long.
I had a good time.
And I think it's because of the
You haven't
people.
seen those people in
and
a
you
long
don't
time.
get that group of people together unless there is like some type of
That
event.
bar was so fucking
The bar sucked.
loud.
I fucking hate that place. But my problem is
no
Palm House,
soundproofing.
it doesn't, and sitting at a table is not right either.
No.
Like, I don't think that there is a right scenario to have a bunch of people standing around in a quiet place talking unless you own the spot. Right?
That's fair.
And I feel like that's the sad thing is
Well,
I
house
wish
parties are fun for that. That's why when Greg throws house parties, it's
then
fun
it's
to go to
great.
his place.
But I wish that there was somewhere that was more loungy in that way, because Palm House doesn't give a solution when you're sitting at a table and you can only talk to the
I
people
can only
around
talk
you.
to the two people around me.
And then that's a totally different situation. Whereas at least this you can move around and there's different groups. But yeah, it sucks screaming over people, and it sucks just fucking having to deal with all the shitty ass music that they play.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I think about that I'm over. Everything else I pretty much still do. There's not too many things other than like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't miss dating. That's for sure.
Sure.
That's one of those things that I think about. I think about when I was younger and I had the constant need to try to get attention from the opposite sex. And I just like somewhere along the lines, right when I met my wife, and then, it wasn't like like this is the moment where I just don't need this anymore. But somewhere I just transitioned to going like, hey, I got this actually awesome thing. And like, maybe I'll just take all that time that I needed to stoke my ego of like flirting with girls, and I'll just put the majority of that over into this thing, right?
The rest goes to comedy.
The rest goes to comedy.
No, that's a great one. I mean, I understand you're talking about that, because
God.
it's crazy to be with Jen and be like, that's legitimately all I want is to go home and be with her. And so that, because I do remember when it was like we'd all go out every night to Eddie Rickenbacker's or whatever. And I'm not saying we were chasing it.
Is that place still there?
Yeah, but now it's all hoity-toity. They totally redid it.
They still have that
It sucks.
fat cat with one leg?
No, Mr. Higgins died and we went to his funeral. You should have come.
Oh, fuck, man.
Mr. Higgins died,
I sent some catnip for him. They buried it with him.
I have photos of the poster we all signed or whatever, because they had a memorial service for Mr. Higgins. It was awesome.
You think that cat was going to die? It was like 400 pounds.
Oh, yeah, of course. And I'm not putting down that, right? But it is that thing of nowadays, I would never, like, every time I see an Instagram from Joey and she's at Marty's Trivia or whatever on Thursday, I'm like, oh yeah, I used to like doing that, but I don't miss it. Goldfarb will hit me up once in a month or so and be like, you want to come tonight? And I usually have something else, or Jen and I are cooking, or we're getting ready to go somewhere. But it's just like, no, I'd rather go home and bullshit around with her, cook dinner, then watch a movie or hang out or play games. Or
I know it's weird to say, but like Tim called me last night and was like, hey, there might be a possibility that you can. I don't know if I'm like Kevin Kamala talked about that or no. Yeah, Kevin obviously got to see Star Wars a little early, and Tim called me. I was like, hey man, there might be another ticket. Do you want to go? And I had blocked off this night as sort of like date night with D, because Tuesday tonight I've got a lot of open mics. Wednesday we have a shoot that's going to go probably late, and then Thursday of course is Last Jedi, which she's coming to, which is great, but it's still going to be still going to be big energy, and it's not just her and I didn't even skip a beat. I was like, no. I'm gonna go home and hang out with my wife. Yeah, like it's just I crave that experience. I need that closeness. I need to be in a quiet room with the person I love most in the world.
Right, and that's the same thing. I mean, like once in a while, or not once in a while. So, like a developer or a voice actor friend or someone is in town on a weird offshoot, but I have something planned, and it's like not even rage, but like, oh, no, I have a date night planned. Right, like I gotta go do that, and I don't feel bad about it. Whereas I think in before, I would have moved to heaven and earth and done all this different stuff to move. Where it's like, no, I'm just like, no, that's what I want to go do. Yeah, you know what I mean. And that's the other thing.
Catch me from the hours of 9 to 5, the normal business hours.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to do a podcast for the most part. It's 7 in the evening anymore, right?
No,
even though we did it last week. Fucking Dan Reichert.
You know what I mean? Reichert, you got to make a special exception for.
You got to. He's rarely
East
here.
Coast now guy.
Yeah. And the way he eats, he will not be around for long.
No, he will not. A Taco Bell wedding, man. What are you gonna do?
The importance. It's a weird one, right? Because doesn't mean it doesn't matter at all to anybody. But like, I find it interesting. Like this season for NFL, I just don't care at all. And
I've never really pegged you as a big NFL guy.
Well, this is the thing Colin and I used to always talk about.
I was gonna say Colin would be like when the Jets were playing. Colin would be like, if you
no.
talk,
Well, that's the thing. Like Colin is an NFL fan, or was at least when he was hanging out with us, and like would watch every game. And I remember even before he left, he was talking about the fact that he was falling out of that. But like I was always the Bears fan. I'm like, all right, cool. It's 10 o'clock. I'm waking up. I'm going to Underdogs. I'm going to watch this game. I'm going to buy the NFL Sunday ticket. I'm going to we'd be at like I remember when we went and filmed The Gauntlet. And like I had my Sunday ticket going on my phone to watch it, and Gus had his going and stuff like that. I was always a Bears guy, and I always talked about that. Like I wasn't an NFL guy.
Yeah.
And it was like last year was the first year where I think I didn't do season pass because I was going back and forth to Montreal so much that it just didn't make sense. Me and Jen were always on the road, and it was just that thing of like, I guess I didn't ever put this together. I guess it's because of finding Jen, I guess, where it was just like, hey, like I'm not gonna be visiting you and take 3 hours to watch this game for a team that's awful. Not that if they were good, I'd watch either. But it translated to this year, where again we travel more than most, I guess. But I could not tell you fucking goddamn thing about the Bears this season. Like Andy will come in, like I used to, check in on ESPN and do more stuff and just see what was happening. Not be like a fan of the NFL, but know what was going on. At least through like just even in-game things during the Bears. I'm telling you stuff and like. And he's like, you see Gronk do this thing? I'm like, no, when did that happen? Like, he's like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, Jesus Christ, really? Like, I'm that far removed from something that like, I was like, oh fuck, make sure the jersey's clean. We're going to this thing. We're doing that thing. Oh man, the Bears playing in SF this year? We're going to go tickets there. And I used to always try to get home for at least one game with Noonan and Poe and stuff. It's just not important.
That's crazy. I didn't realize it used to be that important to you. That's wild because I never really hear you talking about it.
Another good example of it too was just like, unboxing, ornaments this year because it's the first time since Jen's there and loves Christmas. It's the first time I've had a Christmas tree since Missouri, so like a decade. And so awesome. I'm unboxing this, and there's I have Bears ornaments in the box, but one of the boxes I opened, I took a photo of it, it's sealed, but it's a Budweiser box, right, for 12 of those like aluminum bottles, but it's I sealed it up, and it's this was packed on whatever the date was in January, the day the Bears advanced the Super Bowl versus and I had like the score and everything. And it's just like, yeah, like that. I remember crying after that game. You know what I mean? Opening champagne, calling Poe from Missouri. I was in Missouri. He was in I think Illinois, maybe Wisconsin, and or Minnesota. And like, oh man, that was such a thing. And it's like, I don't think it's a fair weather thing because the Bears have been awful my entire fucking life. You know, the cognizant life, obviously, 85, but. It's just a weird thing of like, oh man, like I used to move heaven and earth to see that game and see what was going to go on. And it's just like over time just became less and less to like now where it's like, all right, no, I couldn't tell you the record. Don't know anything that's going on.
Do you feel like maybe if they started getting good, you might come back into the fray?
This is what I was saying, that losing importance, I don't think means it has no importance to you. Like, right, I'm still a Bears fan. I still have my stuff and everything. I don't think it would be a switch flip in terms of like, all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I'm all the way back in. Maybe, I mean, if they were going to go and if they were like running to the playoffs or something, and it was, I would look into doing it and try to get back for like a playoff game with Poe or something like that. But again, that's more about the people and the tradition than it is about that. And I don't say this to disqualify me from ever caring about them again or going and watching games or whatever. I imagine one day it will be like a light switch where I'm like, man, I go for some football and watch that. You okay?
Yeah.
Here, I got tissues. Tissues.
Yeah, thank you.
There's paper towels. They're not real tissues.
Well, it's my favorite because they're durable. I don't like real tissues.
Yeah. But it was weird how I just got snuffed out one day almost, where I was just like, I put so much importance on watching every one of these games, and like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's always been my thing with sports as well. Like, I obviously make fun of you guys for sports and a lot of other things that, come on, let's be honest, you deserve. But with sports in general, I'm just like, I don't know how people can care about something for that long, and I love it, and I think that's cool that they love it. Rather, I love that they love it. I've just never cared that much about a team or a thing like that.
Well, it goes back to something we talked about on the show in the recent weeks, right? Continuity. Well, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like it's a shared moment. The shared sporting event is something that, and I understand not, well, you like UFC, so
I do
you
like
got
UFC.
it there.
Yeah, I definitely, I get it. I just have never been the kind of like, if I miss a UFC fight and it's not a very big fight, I just look at the recap and read it, and I'm like, okay, cool, this person won, right? I like to be there for the big milestones, obviously, because I like to be on Twitter. I like seeing Devin Sawa fucking talking shit to people and all that stuff, even though he swore he wasn't going to do it anymore, but he still does.
Go get him, Devin.
Yeah.
Idle hands too, make it happen.
But I love watching that. I love watching Brennan Schaub and all the hashtags and all these things that are going on. It's really cool to be a part of that. So I get where that comes from. But like, if my wife was like, "Hey, I really don't want you to watch this big fight. I'd rather go out with you," I'd be like, "All right, cool."
Sure. Yeah.
I'll catch it later, or maybe I'll record it or something. Like, I don't necessarily need to be a part of it because part of that is also that there's 2 huge fights every month. Yeah. Too. So
that's
like,
a good point.
It's not like I have a team. I have lots of fighters that I kind of follow a little bit, but I don't really have a dog. A horse in that race. I was going to dog in that fight, but a horse in that race. I don't know which. It's the horse in the race.
You nailed it. You nailed it right there. You nailed it.
Thank you. I'm going to stop. So yeah, I mean, it's just so weird for me. Like, if the UFC started sucking, if all of a sudden they didn't get good fighters, I would not be like, oh, I'm going to stick around with this and watch all these fights. I'd be like, no, I'm going to go over to like some other, whatever the next organization is that gets the good fighters, I'm going to watch them. So it's weird to me that people like, you know, Andy's got the Spurs. He loves the Spurs. If the Spurs don't do well, it doesn't matter. It's the Spurs, right? You know, we had Mia Khalifa on the other day, and she was like a diehard Redskins fan, and it's like, it's crazy to me that it almost gets built up into like I mean, it's a cult, right? Like you're a part of this like ideology that's built around this team, and like you're not a real fan if you haven't been there from the beginning of it, and you're fair weather, and I've been their fan for 29 years, you're 28, I'm better than you, like all that weird like competition aspect of it, which I get. It just doesn't appeal to me in that regard. You know, luckily I've got my wife addicted to chicken wings now, so if I bribe her with chicken wings, she'll let me watch the fight. Plus, y'all know Dee doesn't like to leave the house past 5. So
right.
Yeah,
we'll not do it.
good.
So if the fight starts at 7, she doesn't have a choice. Chicken wings. And she also likes watching the women fight as well because she thinks it's kind of cool and brutal. So I get her with that.
Good job.
And thank you.
Tim, what's your topic?
My topic is high school reunions.
High school
Have we never done this topic?
No, I've definitely never
That's
done it.
crazy.
I don't know why we would before. I mean, it was never like contextually relevant. Not that any of this show is, but
There you go.
No, good point.
That's
Good
everything.
point.
I don't feel like that any of us would have just brought that
I mean,
up.
no, because I love I mean, the subject's awesome. I love this
The
topic.
reason I bring it up is I am about to go to mine next week.
Woo! Yeah, you
You're
are
going
boy.
to it.
So, okay, so
10-year reunion?
10-year reunion.
Okay.
So I've been out of high school for 10 years, which blows my mind. And I wanted to, I don't want to go.
Take a wild guess at what next year would be for me. No, God damn you, Kevin.
Is it 20? Is it leaving?
Yeah. I'm 38 next year, so that would be 20 years.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Think
Yeah,
about that.
18. That's an easier way to do it. I was trying to dial it backwards. I graduated in 01, right? So this would be my 16th.
Yeah. So you're going to this.
So I'm going. I don't want to go, and
not?
I would not go. It's the type of thing where it's just like I have so many reasons why I'm like
Lay 'em on me. I wanna hear some. I wanna hear some.
I want to start by saying that my ex-girlfriend, my first girlfriend I ever had, was I'm gonna get this wrong, valedictorian, or like she's whatever the fuck. Maybe she was valedictorian. She was
Class
whatever
president or
maybe,
class vice
maybe
president.
that.
Yeah. If
She's the one
organizing the high
responsible
yeah,
for this,
and she's class president.
Yeah. So she had to do that.
At least
shit.
that's how it was in my high school.
And it's like, and
No,
we're
that's right.
friends, and
Checks
it's like I'm not gonna like be a dick. Like she hit me up and was like, "Hey, you gotta come. If you come, that means your friend group.
Curran will come. Alfred, all these people will come.
Well,
Yeah.
Curran's
Burke.
putting his foot down. He's straight up just like, I'm not
Fucking tell
fucking
Curran.
going.
I see
I
Curran in the
respect
gym
that,
every
Curran.
3 days.
He's
Tell
being
Curran to
that.
fucking
He's
take
being
his
a
little yoke
straight
ass
up
in there.
asshole about it. And if you're watching the show, come, you fucking asshole. But
Come on, Curran, you're
the
jacked
rest
now.
of the group,
Go.
Don't
the rest
do
of
it,
the group's
Curran.
gonna go. And it's because we it's like whatever, we're doing this, and there's money being put into this and all this shit. It's like such a
What's that fucking mean? You're getting a limo?
Well,
No,
like
no,
that, and that's
like-
the thing about that's why I'll continue.
Yeah, I was
but-
gonna say, what is it? Wait, hold on. What is it?
the class president and people need to pay for the event.
yeah, they have to figure out how to
and
fund
so
it.
it's like so
So
they
what
Are
do
you,
they
are you
tell you
paying for
about-
it? You giving them money?
Yeah. No, my thing is like
Yeah,
I get
that's the
free
thing.
tickets for it because I donated giveaway things for them to for raffles and whatever.
Tickets
the
to Kind of
fuck.
Funny Live 4.
No, it was BioShock Collector's Edition. But whatever. But I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy the tickets anyway because I'm just trying to support this stuff. I always say support people who support people, and it's just like if they're trying to do this thing, I'm like, all right, I want to actually help this cause. They're just trying to give a good time to people, even though I don't give a crap and I don't want to do this. Like, I'm going to do it. It's one night of mine. Who the hell cares? But what were you going to say?
Oh no, that was the weird thing about it to me was that when my 10-year high school reunion came, the president of our class at the time he didn't do shit, and so it was an informally organized thing based off of a couple of my friends from back in the day that were like, hey, we should probably do something, like this is coming up, and so they just kind of put it together. But I always had it, this is going to sound fucking weird, but I always had it in my mind that like somehow the high school paid for it. Like
It sounds right.
Like
when you don't think about it.
we invested money like a
Yeah.
pension plan, and then when we hit 10 years, they just threw us an event.
I'm right there with you. That sounds right.
That sounds right.
And then
right?
you think about
how
it, you're
the
like,
fuck
oh,
else
no.
would you know? Oh wait, I was the president. Oh wait, I should do this. Oh wait, I should sell tickets to this. And like, how do you even know where to start with that?
Yeah, I did not go to my high
So
school.
both of you did not go to yours.
No.
I did it, and I regret it. I regret it. We had a very informal, because again, it wasn't like, hey, it was someone who wasn't in the. I think his
Janitor.
wife was who we graduated with. They ended up getting married. She was in student body, but they weren't president. They weren't supposed to be responsible for this, but they took it upon themselves to do it. They threw a very informal thing at a banquet hall in the Mission Inn, I think, in Riverside, and I could have probably made it, but I chose not to because I was like, I don't really want to do that. And then I started. My buddy Stu went. You guys know Stu. He came on the podcast. Big old Stu from Really Cool Vids. He went and he's like, Nick, you should have gone, man. And I was like, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know that I see the people that I want to see still. And he goes, but this was everyone that you didn't know you wanted to see. He's like, this were all the homies, the people that like we used to love in high school, we just drifted apart from, and it'd be interesting for it's just one night to go back and reconnect with those people. And it's fucking, he was like, it's fucking weird because it's like a time capsule. Because you see that girl you had a crush on, and you're like, whoa, we're 10 years older now. Like just exploring those emotions still for just one. I mean, granted,
Exploring your body.
I think Stu was like either dating or married to his wife at this point, so it wasn't like it was anything crazy for him. But he's like, just being back in that feeling, that nostalgic high school feel again was a powerful thing for him.
Yeah.
And actually, if I'm not mistaken, we did ours, and it was, I think, ours and the year after us. So it was 98, 99.
See,
the graduating
that sounds
classes.
awesome.
Fuck that. I don't want to be around those kids.
I'm looking at, I'm just like, oh, the 08 kids, I want them to be there too.
Yeah,
like,
you
that
should
would add
tell
some
her to do it,
spice
right?
to this whole thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I've invited some of my friends that are 08 to try to get them to come too. But so my thing going into this is, I know my high school experience. I had a lot of friends. They are still my friends now. Most of them were my friends in middle school. I never left San Francisco. A lot of them did. They came back. Everyone knows this. They understand my friend group. So I'm like, I in a very real way see the people I want to see.
Sure.
My high school reunion happens every couple weeks. It's like I have this group that was the same people I hung out with then. Then there is a whole bunch of people that I don't see that often. But I could call them up anytime I wanted to. I see them at the mall every once in a while.
But you won't,
and say
and
hi.
that's the thing. This is like,
Well,
it's like it
but I see
forces
them,
you
though.
to, but it forces you to be in a social setting with these people and just talk to them for a second. I think it'd be a very powerful thing.
For your generation, a little bit for mine. I mean, you're a little bit later.
I was before the car. Yeah.
Exactly. Doesn't Facebook just replace all this shit?
That's my thing too. Is a lot of the things going into it for me, and I can't believe I'm going to this thing. But at this point, I am kind of excited just to see how it all goes. But
Is it at the school?
No, it's not. So it's at a really cool.
See, I imagine everything's like Grosse Pointe Blake, where you go back, it's at the
Fucking
school.
movies ruin this all. Movies ruin this for
No, none of that shit's
everybody.
real.
Of like, I might have, and I wouldn't have, but I might have thought about going back for mine if it was at the school.
Yeah.
But it was similar to yours, where it was like, hey, they're doing a thing in a bar in Chicago or whatever, and then dinner. I'm like, I don't know. And first off, I fucking hated high school. Poe and Noonan in camps I stay in touch with. Not fuck everybody else, but like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
once in a
don't
great
fuck
while,
everyone else.
Jen forces me to use Facebook all the time, and I'm an old man. I don't understand it. But every
It's
so
way too
often I'll be like,
complicated. I
oh,
just
what
want you
about
to know
this
that.
person? And find I'm like, oh, there they are. I don't want to fucking message them or talk to them. I just wanted to check in, see how many kids they have.
See, I'm the polar opposite of you. I hated college, loved high school.
Yeah.
Loved high school. Like high school,
I mean, I
some of
love
my
high school,
best
too.
some of my best memories came from high
Middle
school.
school is my favorite of them all.
I didn't like middle school that much. Actually, middle school was good, but high school was the bomb. The bomb for me. Like that was when I really kind of came into my own and was like, oh, I want to take leadership roles in these organizations that I'm in, really embrace music, theater, like being, that's what I always talk about, like led me on the road to being in entertainment and new media. Like today, I would not have been the same person without high school. So it's interesting that I chose to like, I don't know, and looking at it emotionally, like, maybe I'm like, there's some weird egotistical part of me that didn't want to go to my 10-year because I quote unquote wasn't the person that I wanted to be at the time.
So that's what's funny for me going into this. It's like, all right, I don't really necessarily need to go because I see all these people all the time. My high school's literally 4 blocks away.
Yeah,
it's
we
like,
drive past it on the way to Chipotle every time.
It's insane where it's right there. I don't have like that.
Gotta get Tim out of Northern California.
That
once
need
in
to
a while.
come back. But they're getting a dope ass restaurant in Japantown that I've been to a bazillion times, and it's like it's a nice space for this type of thing. And I'm like, okay, that's gonna be cool. But then I think about it, I'm like, all right, cool. So what are the other good things about a 10-year anniversary? You get to go back and see all the people you had a crush on or whatever, or this and that, and like maybe you have a chance. Great. Guess what? For single people, this sounds awesome. Oh my god, I'm not single, so it's like I'm not going into it with that type of like mindset.
Oh no, I mean that's the other thing too. Like judging based off of the little information I got from mine, had I been single, it would have been
It's a fuck-a-thon.
It would have been a different ball game for
Yeah.
sure.
So
For
I'm going to this thing and it's
sure.
like, all right, cool. I don't have that to look forward to. Then you continue on.
You just gotta go home and fuck Gia.
Well,
Ugh.
no. That's what I'm saying. But in terms of, I would do that without going to a freaking not family reunion, a reunion. Like, so incentive for me to want to go. There's not that level, right? Like some of the single people I know would fucking pay to be there. And they'd have to because you have to buy tickets and shit.
Yeah, naturally, you gotta support.
But then the other thing is to go there and fucking
Food
throw your
doesn't grow
dick
on
around
trees.
and be like, look how cool I am.
Right.
Like it's the Romeo and Michelle thing of inventing
Show up in a
post-it notes.
Yeah.
But
I can't believe you watched that movie recently.
yeah, I recently watched it. It was something.
Did you watch that because of this?
Yeah, actually, I think it was
Started talking about high
and
school
then we're like,
reunions.
let's watch
Watch
it.
that movie.
But thinking about my high school, it's so interesting because it's like I live a pretty damn cool life.
Yeah, you're a cool
right?
guy. You do
I get to
dope
watch,
shit.
I've kept up with everyone on Facebook or like in Facebook in my generation. Everyone knows everything.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no way people don't know what I do if they are all on
the
media
web.
at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool. So they get that. Guess what? What I do isn't that impressive. I went to one of the smartest high schools in America. Everyone there is going to be freaking rich as fuck and hella successful. There's not that same level of fuck you.
Maybe, but you're still gonna have something really fun to talk about, right? And that's like, I mean, I talk to all sorts of people about us because I love talking about what we do to people. It's also incredibly hard to describe what we do to people in one sentence because like, what do you do? I'm like, well, follow me on this. But people are always fascinated about it because my wife has a lot of clients that she works with, and like I'll go to the client parties with her every once in a while, and they'll be like, I mean, these guys are they're like loaded, right? They're like, they're all finance people, they're all hedge fund people, and they're like yada yada yada, this, that, money, power, bought someone, sold someone, whatever the fuck, right? And they go, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm an internet influencer. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, I make YouTube videos and podcasts, and people listen to those. And we have a big community, and they support us, and we make money that way. And they go, that's a real job? And I go, yeah. And then I just become
The coolest.
People are like, whoa. Because they can see how much I fucking love doing what we do.
Yeah.
And there's that dead part of them that realizes they're only doing it for the money that goes, wow, this guy's really got it together. Like, he's wearing Vans, and they look like he needs a new pair of Vans, but like,
He's
other
got a
than that-
black eye.
Yeah, he's got his face beat up for some reason. But yeah, I think it'd be worth going just to share kind of what you're doing with people, you know, and hearing it from you. I think it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited.
Did you just do this? Like,
Yeah,
I'm saying,
I've
you know,
now,
don't do it,
I've
don't
now
go.
come full circle on it. Where I mean, now that I'm going, it's been decided. I'm like looking into it, and like I'm looking on Facebook, and I'm seeing all the people that are invited. I'm seeing the people saying they're going, and all of a sudden, I'm like, it's interesting. Like a lot of these people, I'm like, I don't know that I ever cared to talk to you or see you again, but whatever. And I will say that my class, good on them. They're fucking a successful bunch. They're a good looking bunch.
Yeah.
It turned out well for
fun.
them. For most of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not so much for my class.
Really?
Yeah, I can't think of too many people that
We'll
are
see. And
crazy
I'll give
notable.
you guys an update on how this goes. But I hope someone fucks someone. Like, I hope someone fucks someone.
guarantee
Someone's
someone's gonna
definitely
fuck
fucking
I hope someone
someone.
fucks someone that like wanted to fuck them. I want someone that I know. I want someone.
Oh, you
the
mean
problem
like
is
I
don't
always
know-
had this crush on this girl, and then you see him and you reconnect and you
Yeah.
bang? Yes, that
I
is what
fucking
high
want
school.
that.
That is someone along the way was like, I didn't get to have sex in high school, and that man's name was Nick Scarpino. No, someone was like me that graduated and was like, I have a genius idea. Okay, I'm successful now. I could probably go back and actually make an impression on that girl I had a crush on. Let's get a reunion together. And that's how high school reunion started. Guarantee it.
I have to feel like maybe just because I just hated high school so much, like it was just like salted the earth kind of thing. I'm just like, all right, I don't want to
There's
see.
a little bridge, and you're like dynamite.
No, I don't mean blow up bridges because I don't have the people I have no problem
Sure.
with. But it's also just like I say, I kept in touch with the ones that were like super close, and it's like I guess maybe because our lives are small talk. Coming off of yet another convention of like, what's the best thing you've seen to the show? When'd you get in? You know,
Yeah.
like the same questions
Yeah.
you ask everybody at E3 and everything else.
Yep.
I don't need to go be like, oh, so how many kids you got? What do you do now? Oh, you fucking work downtown? Cool. Gave up on your dreams? Fuck you. And then I put on a spaceman outfit. And I spaceman out.
Let me
I was
ask you a
thinking,
question,
I
though.
went through a train of thought where I'm like, should I try to convince us
I'll
to
go.
go to my fucking
I'll
reunion?
go to your
I'll go
fucking
to your
reunion.
fucking
But then
yeah.
I realized that's not going to be fun for anybody.
Yes, it will, because let's pretend that I went to high school with you and no one remembers me.
I'm in.
You're a
Let's do
teacher.
it.
You're a
This
teacher.
guy looks a little old to have got it. No, guys, I am 28 years old today.
I would love more than anything to go and me and Nick just work the check-in desk. All right, sign here. We have like things that say people's names, like oh, it's just our names. It's like,
Yeah.
were you in? Oh yeah, we were in homeroom together. Don't you
Yeah,
remember?
we had biology together.
Just give me
Senior
some
year.
weird things
You know,
that I would know. Some nobody else except people who went to Lowell would know.
Yeah.
It's
Remember how
like-
we couldn't leave campus to go to the mall? Anyways, bye guys.
It's like the scene from Grosse Pointe Blank where the guy walks in and he's clearly like super old and he's the kickboxer, like assassin guy. He's like, yes, I am Edward Smith or whatever the fuck it was. It's a good scene.
I love it. I'm into it.
Nick,
Yeah.
what's your topic?
Second topic, skydiving.
I went skydiving.
Now, my wife has been kind of putting a bug in my ear for the last few years of like, she read an article somewhere that was like, hey, couples
Let's
should
do
do something
something
crazy and dangerous together because apparently it releases like mass amounts of dopamine or some other hormone that bonds you, whatever the bonding hormone is. And she's like, we should do this. This would be fun. Now, granted, we travel together and we get that similar experience where it's like, this is challenging. We have to bond. We have to come together as a team to overcome, you know, when they don't have our king size bed ready for us at the nice hotel that she booked for us, you know? So she said skydiving. And I'm like, of course I said yes. And then I'm like, if I don't ever say anything, we'll never do it, right?
Yeah.
But then I forgot who I was married to because my wife keeps copious notes in I shit you not, a handwritten calendar, and we'll put things on the calendar of like, hey, remind Nick about skydiving. And so last year I got out of it because we did a hot air balloon thing that freaked me the fuck out, and I will never do that again. This year
I
she was like,
remember that.
I went to Morocco and we did a hot air balloon, and I got in. I was like, this is gonna be fun, and I shit you not, about 10 feet off the ground, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're getting high. This is getting fast. And I had a bad reaction to it where I had to like sit down in the basket for a little bit. Eventually I was like, oh, we're going to be fine. It's fine. But like it just dawned on me that we were thousands of feet in the air and there was nothing between us and the ground except for the fucking balloon. And now when you think balloon, what do you think? Balloons pop. Naturally, right?
Sure.
You want to pop them. This thing pops. I plummet to the earth. Like it's eerie.
Were you in the wicker basket?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're in a basket and it's super quiet and there's no wind. And you're like, this is weird because I feel like I'm in a skyscraper, but there's nothing underneath me, right? My wife was fine. We had a dude that was traveling with us. No, that was literally hanging off the side with a selfie stick, like tipping the basket. I'm like, yo, motherfucker, die on your own time. This is my shit, right?
Yeah, I paid for this.
The guy that's running the hot air balloon is like, I go way, like he's like, see that guy right there? That's a competitor. We go way higher. We're gonna go as high as planes. And I'm like, why? Why? That's the plane space up there. That's where the planes fly. I don't want to go there. Let's go below where the balloons fly. Height. So when my wife was
he's
like
giving you oxygen mask. He's like, we're
gonna Halo jump.
We're
like,
Red Bulling this one. We're going up.
So my wife's kind of like that, and so she was like, yeah, for my birthday this year, like I don't want you to get me a present. I just want you to take me skydiving. Plan the day. You just let me know what's good. She likes to be, because I'm not a planner. We do all this stuff when I go home. It's the last thing I want to do is plan one more thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, cool. So I planned the day where I was like, okay, we're gonna go skydiving around lunch because that's what I called the guy, and he was like, if you come this time of year is perfect because it's cold, which means visibility will be better for whatever reason. If you come at noon, that means all the cloud coverage will be burnt off. So I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna get breakfast first, and then we're gonna go at noon, and then I'll find a restaurant for us to go to, which I found a barbecue place called Speakeasy Barbecue up in Nevada, which is actually pretty good. And so I'm like, but I think I'm going to freak out because this is combining two of the phobias that one I knew I had, one I didn't know I had until a hot air balloon, which like I didn't know that heights freaked me out, but I do know that small planes definitely freak me out because I'm still dealing with like a little bit of claustrophobia here. So I'm like, I will see what happens.
I can't believe you did this.
I can't.
Nick Scarpino jumping out of a plane.
It did, yeah.
That's insane.
How small was the plane?
It's a Cessna.
Okay.
It's like a Widowmaker. Okay. It's like two little. Yeah, I mean it's tiny.
It's the tiniest thing you can imagine. Like,
and you are strapped in, right?
Yeah.
You get in, they get in, and they put their feet here, and then so it's me.
You're tandem jumping.
Yeah, we're tandem jumping.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't do the 8-hour long like class where you get certified, you get to jump by yourself. I was like, I don't want to be in charge of pulling the chute at the wrong time because it's no, we're good. So we get there. We get to this nice place. We went to Skydive Golden Gate, which is this little tiny, like little skydive outfit up in Nevada. Really nice people, really cool. The guy called me a couple times to confirm and like answered all my questions. Really nice guy. So I recommend you go there. They made us feel safe. They were cool. We met the people we were going to jump with. And so my wife and I really weren't freaking out. And I was like, I'm going to start freaking out at some point. It's going to happen, but it just hasn't happened yet because we're still on the ground, right? Get in the car to go over to the plane because the runway that they take off at is under construction, so we had to take off out of Petaluma. So I had a good 30-minute ride, think about how much I was going to freak out. I'm like, probably going to freak out. Get to the plane. I'm like, that plane's super small. Never been near one of these. This is going to be not good. My wife's smiling. She's super excited. And I think it was because she was so like, this is going to be cool, that I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just go with this until inevitably the door shuts and I start freaking out. And I asked the guy, I was like, do people freak out, and what happens if that happens? I always like to have a little security blanket of like, if I freak out, I want to be able to know that if I'm not going to jump, we're just not going to jump, we're going to land, whatever. The guy's like, no, I mean, people freak out, and it's really not a good thing to do up there because you have to ride the plane back down, and that's not a fun experience. You want to go out of the plane. And I'm like, okay, well, at what point do they freak out? And he goes, usually they're fine until the door opens.
Yeah.
And then the reality hits them that they're taking the quickest way possibly down to the ground, which is just to jump the fuck out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I stand by that.
Yeah. You rode with the door open the entire
that was the
time.
thing. I was totally fine. I was hyped. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. And like, there was video footage, and it's like they shot the vlog for me.
Oh, yeah. They did the same thing. I have that footage.
Like, how do you feel? And all this stuff. And it's just like, okay, cool, let's go. And I was super hyped. And we get on the plane, and it was me and like maybe 4 of my other friends, and 2 of them had done it before.
How big was your plane? Because mine was tiny. Mine would not have fit 4 more people in there.
I mean, it was real tiny. But I mean, we were scooched in, like,
okay,
dick to ass.
Yeah,
the entire way.
Best part.
And so they 2 of them have done before, and 2 of us haven't. And I was the only one doing video, which means that there's a
you had to go
third
first.
guy.
Did
So
you go
someone's
first?
attached to me, and then there's a third guy that jumps out.
Oh, see, my guy had
films
just
you.
a GoPro on his arm the entire time. So he was just like this,
Oh.
and one was taking pictures and one was taking video.
Oh, interesting.
Such a cool
Yeah,
little setup.
we had a separate guy
Okay.
that had GoPros all over him, and I have a bunch of different angles of it. It's pretty freaking
awesome.
cool. But yeah, so we had like a dedicated camera guy. So I had to go first, which meant I was closest to the door. So I'm sitting, and the door is right next to me. Like it's not even a foot away. It's less than a foot away, and like I could put if I moved my foot up, it'd be out the plane. And then the guy's attached to me. There wasn't even a seatbelt. There wasn't anything. We're just in this plane, and there's a guy attached to me. And like, if I just like pulled him through at any point, we would have just been out of the plane. Like that seems
that's
very scary.
That's weird to me because when I got in the plane, the first thing I felt was someone like he was here and he's like, "Hey, did you see this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "That you know what that is, right?" And I looked down. I was like, "Oh, is it a seatbelt?" I was like, "I'll put a seatbelt on you. You know how to unbuckle these, right?" And it's your standard airline seatbelt.
Yeah.
And it was a safety check. He was like, "You understand? I'm putting a seatbelt on you. If for whatever reason this plane, you have to get out of this plane, you have a seatbelt on you." And I'm like, "Okay." Which I like. I like when you explain things to me like a fucking child when
Yeah.
I'm in a dangerous situation. I don't want you to be like, "Let's fuck it, you understand." I'm like, "Talk to me about the
You got all this,
dynamics
let's
of the
go."
seatbelt." Yeah,
I like them to explain it to me in song, but maybe that's just me.
Well, you are a Hakuna Matata kind of guy.
So no, we did not have seatbelts, and I'm sitting on this thing, and the chairs. It's like this little like bench that you're kind of on, and you're just straddling it. It's just like I've never felt that unsafe in my entire life because I was just like, yeah, I just fucking pulled forward, like we're out of the goddamn plane, and so we take off, and I'm like, oh, they're not going to close the door, and they just left the freaking door open.
that would've been
And as
terrible.
we're going up, I'm just looking out, seeing us get higher and higher and higher. And it's just right there, and I'm like, that is when I just freaked the fuck out.
Did you?
Head. Oh, in my head, I was fine. I knew we had to do it. At that point, I'm like.
No, you got to do it. That's the thing.
It was
like,
the thing where I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that makes this awkward for people, so I'd rather jump out of a plane.
right,
I
because
don't like dealing
if you're
with
the
these
first out too,
situations.
that means you're screwing everyone out. You're
Yeah.
like, they have to go land, drop you off, and take off
I
again.
was
At
like,
that point,
oh,
you're
so I'm
screwed.
just gonna do it.
That's what I thought too. The second I got in the plane, I'm like, I'm doing this. There's no way. I'm not going to ruin this experience for my wife. I'm not going to. And there was a little bit of it that was like, there's two. And if you think that's like, if you have an image in your brain of what a skydiving instructor might be like, you fucking nailed it.
Yeah, man.
Ours was
let's
named
do
Johnny Tsunami.
There you go. Are you kidding me?
No,
That's awesome.
I mean, at least that's what it said on his.
My
thing.
two guys were very nice guys, very knowledgeable, but they were very much like, dude, we fucking jump out of a plane all day long. This is what we do. You're gonna do it, man. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. Like one of them at one point was just like handing me a bag of like, because he could tell I was nervous. He just handed me a bag of like these sweet candies, and I was like, oh yes, I will have some of these. These look good. These are gonna calm me down. Didn't calm me down. Sugar, not the right thing to respond to on that one. My guy, doors closed. We're high. Like we're fucking up there. And I'm like, okay, we're probably gonna jump out sometime soon, right? Now they gave us two options at Skydive Golden Gate. They were like, you can jump out at 10,000 feet, which is pretty normal, or if you pay a little extra, we'll take you up to 14,000 feet, which means that the free fall lasts a little bit longer. And I was like, 10,000 feet. And as I'm saying 10,000 feet is fine, my wife's like 14,000 feet, 100%, right? And I'm like, oh, I guess we're
I
jumping
mean,
out
if
at
you're going,
14,000
you're gonna
feet.
do it, dude.
Do it
So
big.
I remember distinctly thinking we are really fucking high above the ground right now, which you don't get when you're in an airliner because everything, all this, you got room to walk around. But when you're in a little tiny plane and it's like it's rickety, and you're like with this upholstery's from the 60s, like this plane can't be that young.
Like, you know when you go to a theme park, or like not even a theme park,
A carnival.
Yes.
and you go on a roller
Yes.
coaster,
That is the
how
feeling.
it feels.
Not-
Except the door's open and
Yeah.
you're thousands of feet in the air.
And so my door was closed, and I remember asking this guy, I was like, we're pretty high, man. Like, how high are we right now? He's like, 6,000 feet, man. And I was like, 6,000 feet. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, as in 8,000 more feet to go. He's like, oh, we're going high. Dude. And I was like, oh my God. But to the credit, they were like, one of the reasons that people like to come to us is because when you go up in Nevada, you can see like the mountains, the ocean, you can see the city, you can see like you get a bird's eye view of the entire like Northern California area. It is fucking stunning, and it was clear. It was like a crisp, clear day with like the sun just right where it needed to be to like perfectly light the rest of the. And I was like, this is really beautiful. And then the guy goes, this, okay, what are we talking about on the ground? My foot goes out first. Your 2 feet go on this little pedestal, and then my next foot's gonna come out, and then we're gonna jump, right? And I was like, cool. He said, say it back to me. I was like, your foot first, my 2 feet, then your foot, and we go. Great. So gets time. The door opens. I'm like, that is a shocking amount of noise that is coming from the outside of this plane. Now, I remember it triggered a memory for me. I remember watching Mythbusters. And by the way, people ask me, hey, how many times did you bring up Point Break? 5 times I bought up Point Break because I fucking love that movie. And ever since I saw that, in the back of my head, I'm like, maybe one day I'll see it.
The remake,
For me, it was
right?
Power Rangers.
Fuck you for that. No, it's the Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves classic. And you remember those skydiving scenes, they're yelling back and forth. Bullshit.
No.
No fucking
Not
way.
a
It
chance
is
in
so
hell.
loud when you're free falling. All you hear is wind, right? And so, and that's what the door sounds like when it opens. So he goes, ready? I'm like, ready, right? He goes, say loud with the camera. I was like, hey, what's up? His foot goes out. My 2 feet go out. We are out of that fucking plane. That last foot was just that was a red herring, man. He was like, nope, I'm just gonna, because you're waiting for that last bit and then you're just out.
Yeah.
And the weird thing was, they had told me before, I was like, I don't believe this, but he goes, because the plane's going so fast, you're launched and your inertia changes. You don't feel that sinking feeling like when you jump off of like, you cliff jump or like you go on a roller
I'm cliff
coaster.
jumping all the time.
Well, a roller coaster,
Yeah, I
you
know,
go
yeah,
down
yeah.
like
Your stomach.
your stomach
drops.
goes, oh, you feel like,
Turbulence in
oh.
a plane.
Or like that where you get that weird thing, and even in video games, you'll jump off and you're like, oh, yeah, your body will feel it. I didn't feel it. It was just wind, and I flipped, and then we stabilized, and I was just like, I'm falling. I'm just falling. Like, this is weird. And it didn't even feel like falling. It just looked like there's wind coming at me, and like the scene in front of me is getting a little bit bigger, and that's it. And then boom, he pops the chute, and then I started getting nauseous.
Oh, really?
Because he started doing the thing with his circle, and I was like,
Ambassador,
so you gotta stop. Yeah,
you just feel it.
You gotta stop. You can't. He's like, you doing okay? I was like, well. And he's like, all right, I'll loosen up a little bit on you. And now my choke hurts.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt yesterday, but it hurts today. My choke hurts.
I had such a different experience than you.
Really?
My God. Oh yeah. Well, you just described about the put your feet out and then go whatever. Totally different system. Like
Really?
there was a lot more steps for me to have to do.
Okay.
And I'm not good at that type of shit.
No, I
so we
can't.
get out. We had to do this thing where he's like, keep your legs together, tuck them back.
Yeah, I had to do that too. I had to tuck him back under the butt and put my head
So
back.
like, in
and
the,
then when he tapped,
in the
like I had to
footage-
go out like this. And he was like, you got to go out with your hands holding this. And I didn't realize until I jumped out of the plane that was 100% to keep me from going like this.
Punching him in the
and
head.
stopping us and like us falling. So he was like, cable like this, and then when we're stabilized, you can put your hands
Then
out
you go
like
out.
you normally
Yeah.
do.
There
And
was
I
a whole
like,
bunch of weird steps that I had to do, and it resulted in me looking just like a big fat baby, kind of falling out of the thing.
Oh, at one point I
which
was
is
sitting
really
on this
funny.
nice gentleman. Brian was his name. I was sitting on Brian from Skydive Golden Gate's lap.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, Brian, I'm pretty heavy right now, man. I'm sorry. Like, I've been working out a little bit. And he's like, it's fine, man. I'm like, but are your legs going to sleep?
Function.
Yeah. I was like, because I'd like
He
you
just
to
does
be
like a
able
weird
to-
like roll,
Yeah.
tumbling.
So for me, I've told this story before, but I made the dumb choice of going straight from being at the resort, and I was wearing Chubby's swim trunks, which
Oh, that's a
Chubby's
bad
are
idea.
extra short swim trunks.
You've got that just against your skin at this point.
And so like they're 6 inches long. So like just think about that. It's not much.
No.
It's a lot of thigh being shown. And I didn't have underwear underneath it. It was just swim trunks.
Yeah.
And then I had a filthy casual tank top on.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm just like,
Jesus.
That was it. I was like, fuck it. Let's go skydiving.
Did they offer you a flight suit? Like an actual like jumpsuit?
No, they didn't give a fuck about me. No.
Because ours, they were like, "Do you guys want a jumpsuit just in case you land on the grass and you skid? You might get like
What were you wearing?
I read the FAQ and it said wear jeans and a shirt that covered like has a little thickness to it. So I wore a sweatshirt, just a pullover sweatshirt, jeans,
also
and these
put the
shoes.
fear of God in him.
Yeah, he did too. He was like, it's gonna hurt if you don't. And then they gave us a Dickies like zip up workman jumpsuit to go with that. So I had a good
Dodger.
half an inch of coverage over
Yeah,
my entire body.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, you just jumped out.
I jumped out essentially naked.
That's
and I'm like,
baller.
it fucking sucked because immediately, like what you're talking about not feeling oh no, that free fall for me, like, and I don't know what it was, but it felt like the roller coaster feeling for 15 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, like it was just constant,
that's not,
constant
it didn't
going.
feel that way for me or my wife. She was like, I didn't feel it either. It just felt
Extremely
beautiful.
hard to breathe. Like,
Yeah, that was a little
really
weird.
hard. But it was like, all right, cool, this is cool. Like I was into it. Like it was thrilling. It's that feeling of jumping off a cliff and like where you start to hear everything start to whoosh faster and faster and faster as you fall faster.
hit
and faster.
terminal velocity.
And it's like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it goes whoosh, and it pulls up and the parachute goes. And that's when I was in the most pain in my life. And it just goes everywhere all over me. And I was just like crippled and just fucked going down. And it hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think about anything but just the blinding pain. And everything was so tight and both my legs fell asleep as I was going down. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like what you were just talking about, when I landed, my leg, I just landed like sitting down.
Yeah, I was like, I moved my legs around and like curled them around behind me and just kept them going because it was. Yeah, I mean, you're sitting in that the sling basically
Mm-hmm.
of the what that was not a holster, whatever the fuck they call it, for a while. And that's the thing. I didn't realize the canopy ride was going to be that long.
So long.
How long is the rough ballpark?
Minutes,
Ballpark
like
minutes?
maybe four
Oh,
minutes,
wow.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
way
you're
high.
up there for a while, which is cool because then I looked up, I saw my wife shoot pop, and I was
and
like,
he-
cool, my wife's not dead. That's awesome.
Did yours do the thing that was like, oh, do you want to control it?
No, he didn't offer that to
Oh,
me.
really?
He did it for D. D was like, yeah, I got to hold the thing and like do this.
You were getting car sick. That's
No,
what
to me, I think he did the thing where, because I guess I'm heavier. He was like, hey, I'm gonna loosen you up. It's gonna feel like you're falling for a second. Don't worry, I'm not like letting you go. And which I'm glad he said that because he reached down,
Dude,
like, boom, and I went, whoa.
and you go,
like
bah.
you drop for
You
a second,
drop.
and
And
your
it was
asshole
scary as fuck.
goes tight, man,
Yeah.
watertight. You're like, whoa, okay, we're good, we're fine. Watertight, baby. Can't get water in
Yeah.
there. Can't get a thumb in there. Can't get anything in there.
My thing is, I know that I'm making it sound like it was the worst experience ever. I would totally do it again. I just wouldn't be a fucking jackass.
Well,
and I'd
call
put clothes
up my
on.
wife because she wants to do it again. You guys can go together. You can take Gina.
Are you done? You're no good?
The thing is, I liked it. I'm like, cool, I did it. I don't like my wife, in her words, she hit the ground and was like, do you think they'll let us go again right now? And I'm like, no, I don't think they will. I
Yeah,
think it's a
no.
schedule thing.
Yeah.
I made some shit up. I was like, because I got queasy
I
also.
heard that they were talking about like the plane's got to get retired.
Yeah, I was like,
they gotta work on the
plane's done.
engine.
This is the last time. No, but I mean, to this credit of the shop, they dropped us off like, thanks guys, and another couple just got in and they went again. I'm like, you guys are gonna do that again?
I mean, that's crazy.
You're
It's
gonna do that
expensive too. I
again?
mean, the only thing is, I don't want to do it again. I would. It's like I did it. I'm done. Like, it's definitely something I've always wanted to do. And
No,
I'm like, cool.
if you were like, Nick, I want you to go with me my first time skydiving, I'd go with you. And having done it again and realizing that like all of the like, there's nothing really to be scared of other than the fact that the
anything goes
the waiver
wrong.
they make you sign is 19 initials. That's how many initials you have to put on this. Every paragraph's like, are you sure you read this? Because you are, and they make you watch the instructional video. Very
And
nice
it's
guy, very
terrifying.
big beard, who was like, in no uncertain terms, is like, you might die today. Today might be your last day on this earth, and you might die in a way that is probably the most terrifying way to die ever.
And Nick's not exaggerating.
No,
He's not joking.
that's what
about
the guy
it.
said.
What they say in the video.
Yeah.
It's like,
Did you have the same beard guy talking
it
to you?
sounds like I did.
Because
I think he invented the holster.
tandem. Yes, he
that's
invented
what
the
it was.
tandem rig. It's beard. He's the guy. He looks like Father
Beardo
Christmas.
McBeardson.
He's
and his
awesome.
tandem rig.
Woo.
Yeah, that's fun. You should do it.
Nah, not a chance.
Not a chance.
Why not? Oh, you don't like
Still
roller
want to.
coasters and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
I'm prone to motion sickness. I hate that stomach drop feeling. Like I'm not about it. And that was the thing I've told the story before, but I always thought I would if the opportunity was presented. And we finished it up at noon once, and I took off a mic, and some dude from IGN that I never ever saw again walked over, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I just came on, and I'm doing this with sales or whatever." marketing."
You never
And he's
saw
like,
him again because he died from a skydiving
Oh my god! And
accident.
he was like, "Hey, yeah, like we're working on a deal, and we were thinking it'd be cool. I have friends who do the skydiving thing. If we sent you and Naomi up there, would you be down for that?" And my mind was clear, and I was like, "No." I was like, oh, well, no, I guess I wouldn't do that. No,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, just the process you're describing. I'm like, no, doesn't sound like something I think would be fun for me. I'm glad other people get out of it.
There has just been this thing that I've been trying to do this whole year, or doing this whole year, I should say, successfully, which was just been like, when I encounter things that give me any level of anxiety or fear, I stop to ask myself, I'm like, is this something that I should do just for that reason right
Yeah.
there? And skydiving definitely ticks off that box.
Sure.
Where I'm like, normally not something that I'd want to do, but I'm like, I want to check in and see, can I sit in that plane for a while? Do I have, like, what is that feeling going to be when that door opens? And right when I jump out, is it going to be that crazy, like, oh shit, I'm going to die feeling? Or what will I feel?
Yeah.
And it was very weird to explore those feelings as I jumped. Because right as we left, I was like, oh. And then we were falling, and that was
Yeah.
it. And I was like, I took a moment to realize that I'm like, I am falling from 14,000 feet, and it's fun. Like, this is fun. This is cool. Like, and then there's the moment where you're like, I really hope that chute pops. That would be
Yeah,
cool
yeah,
too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
and then the chute pops, you're like, huh, that wasn't that bad. Actually, I liked the free fall a lot more than I liked the canopy ride. The canopy ride, I was like, can we pop that a little bit later next time so we could just do this for like 2 minutes and then go down?
Yeah.
Because I got queasy. I didn't like the G-forces on it. But it was very cool because I was like, I'm proud of myself. Like, I didn't
You
think that I was
did it,
going to do
man.
this. This is cool. It's fucking fun. And my wife and I, the whole weekend, we were just stopping and being like, we fucking jumped out of an
fucking
airplane.
plane.
We fucking jumped out of a fucking airplane. Like, it was awesome. It was fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I think for me, it just falls into the same category as when we went to shoot guns for Kevin's thing.
Yeah.
Where I was all about it, like, I'll do it because we're all doing it. When we got there and it wasn't like everybody needed to do it, I was like, oh, then I want to save my money.
Yeah, that's
like,
totally-
I
I
just
mean,
have
that's-
I've shot guns. I have no desire to do it again. I don't get the adrenaline rush out of it. Like, it's crazy. It's fun to do. Like, you didn't go that one time. I did in Austin. I've done it in Missouri.
Sure.
Like, it's like cool, but it was just like that.
Yeah.
And the same thing here where it's just like, no, I don't want to be motion sick. And I feel like that's what would happen.
Yeah, the gun thing was interesting too because I was like, well, first off, we went to the gun store in Las Vegas, which is an indoor range, which I was like, I didn't love the indoor range aspect of it. I wish we could have gone someplace where it was outdoors because it was so fucking loud and hot in there, and you had to keep the ear protection and the eye protection on, and there was like 15 of us in that small space, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do with this, but just the opportunity to actually, like, for that, I was like, I want to fire a machine gun because I've done it so many times in like video game world.
Yeah.
Like, it seems silly that I wouldn't actually do it in real life. I hate to say it, but I'm like, I had a fun time.
No, guns are fun to shoot.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Kevin had a great time.
He did. There's a Game Over Greggy show all about it.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, this has been the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 3 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny where you can toss us a couple bucks. Get each and every episode early. How early, Kevin?
You could be watching right now.
You could be watching right now live, yeah, you know what I mean? Or you can get it early as a video and MP3 on Friday. You get a bunch of exclusive things we do, cool perks and goodies, all sorts of cool stuff, like that Christmas card. That was one of them. If you got no bucks to toss our way, though, we totally understand. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny where you can get the show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big video in MP3 the following Friday. No matter where you get the show, thank you so much for watching. I mean a lot if you subscribe, liked, shared, all that jazz. But you knew that. 2017 has been amazing thanks to you. Let's make 2018 even better. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.